How y'all doing? This is DMT Journal, aka Stories with Salvo, and I know this is my first time camming up for the channel. I am an introvert. I'm very shy, so it took a lot to even do this. Uh, but I hope you appreciate at least knowing how I look because you definitely know how I sound like if you've been here from day one. It's still a small channel. Also, please mind the wind. I love being in nature, but it's a windy day. It's still like 70 degrees, but it's very, very windy. Might be some thunderstorms later. Also, I've been busy with other things, so I haven't been posting on this channel. But I just wanted to post something really brief, really, um, and talk about 607 Unk. Now, 607 Unk, not the punk. It's like a growing YouTube sensation, basically. You know, he's associated with the music industry. He owns his own label, I believe. He owns his own channel. He's everywhere doing interviews. Um, and usually, this type of content I stray away from when you're considered too animated, or a troll, or too explicit. Because I feel like those things kind of hinder any potential messages you might have. But if you were to hear from me, I think it's definitely worth checking out his content. It might not be for you, it might be too much for you, and that's understandable as well. But at the same time, um, I learned a lot from him, and I learned how much um, my spirit resonates with a lot of his messages and a lot of his themes, a lot of the things he says, and it just triggers my mind or my subconscious or even my third eye. He says something, and then I'm suddenly in my thoughts, and I'm putting two and two together, and I'm saying, hey, I experienced that too, or that's a logical explanation what you just said because I've had similar experiences. So I definitely believe if you are spiritual, even if you're religious, just check out some of the things he talks about. Some of it might offend you, though, depending on what religion you are, because he's very, very blunt. But at the same time, there's things that he can answer that I feel like a lot of religions can't really answer, or they, speak about very vaguely or ignore all completely. So one of those things specifically that I want to talk about um, is Sophia. Sophia is like a divine goddess. Usually I do my research before I do these types of videos, but I wanted this video to be as organic as possible. I didn't want to just seem like I cheated and went to the internet and found some information and made content out of it. That's not what this is. But I believe she's some kind of deity. Uh, it's part of some religions or whatever. But he always talks about Sophia. And if you've been following my channel since the start, and there's only what I have like 50 subscribers. So maybe there's one or two people that can comment and say, yeah, I've been here and you've been talking like this. But there's always been like a heavy feminine influence on my spiritual journey. And when he talked about Sophia, I was, the first time I heard it, I was met with deja vu. It's like Sophia, 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 whatever. I blew it off. No pun intended, because it is windy. But then he mentioned it in depth a second time I heard it, and then suddenly I was somewhere else, right? And I remembered this experience that I had. Um, that basically like painted a picture of how I remember Sophia, and that's where the deja vu came from. Um, and it's really trippy, and I'm gonna explain it to you. Basically, 607 Unk believes, the God that we worship is not the real God, and and even Jesus was a hologram, and they help us repeat the cycle of life and death. Um, but if we but we also can go to heaven or hell, but it's not ideal because we will be stuck in a loop or in a cycle. And it's better to break away freely and be your own god or your own goddess. And I hope I'm not butchering his message, but this is like the common theme of when he talks about Sophia. And Sophia wants us to know that, hey, we're tricked by these indoctrinated messages that keeps us here. And again, if you're a Christian, if you're whatever, then I hope I don't offend you. I do believe people can believe whatever they believe in. I've 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 been pondering atheism. I've been pondering agnosticism. I grew up a Baptist. Um, right now I'm spiritual, but just open to all forms of information. So I hope I don't offend any particular religions or anybody like that or any specific belief systems. But like I was saying, 607 Unc claims that Sophia is the true goddess that's responsible for us. And we're tricked right now by these false gods um, that they are more superior than. Sophia is over them, and Sophia created them, and then they created us. Um, and from there, we've had our truths stolen, and the goal is to reconnect back with our true form of self. And at first when he was saying this, like I said, when I was having that deja vu, I was wondering why, because I'm like, that's not anything my spirit resonates with. But around that second time he said it, then I started to have experiences that correlated with this. So this is what I saw, and it got so deep to where I even wrote a song about it, um, because I realized the core of that deja vu was surrounded in the name Sophia. There was this Sophia character in my mind, right? Before even watching the interviews that I just had some form of an attachment to already, prematurely, as it relates to the physical at least. And, right in the moment, I kind of went somewhere else. My mind just, it went and fetched a distant memory for me. You know what I'm saying? And what I remember was, let's call it a dream for the sake of keeping things sounding as sane as possible. There was this dream I had where this woman gave birth to me, but not in the way that, a typical mother gives birth, not through her body. It was more energetic, as if she split a form of herself. She fragmented herself and created me. And she immediately embraced me. She consciously did what she did uh, to make me a being or an entity. And it's as if she tried to groom me to be, to abide by her will and, to take on like a role. She took on the role of like a mother, not just to love, but also to teach. And I can't really explain how I got that message. There was just a vibe of it because physically there wasn't like really actions going on. This is just what I experienced through vibrations. And then suddenly there was this creation, there was this deity or entity that started influencing me. And, you know, this entity, I'm just going to call Sophia, this entity that created me, at first was unaware of it, but it's like once they grew aware of it, then they realized what was going on. It's as if this had already happened and it's been an ever constant cycle. Um, and what I remembered was this entity was very welcoming, not Sophia, the other entity. It was very, very welcoming. It felt almost perfect, almost complete, but not quite complete. It didn't feel as grand of an energy as Sophia, but it felt very close. It felt pleasurable to just be in their presence. And for some reason, Sophia was treating it like it was bad, like it'd be a bad influence. But my consciousness or my energy, not knowing that, I fully submitted to that energy. And what happened was, Sophia was, what's the word I want to use? Devastated. Sophia was devastated that I fully succumbed to this vibration, because now what happened was I was taken away from Sophia. And it all sounds crazy, but this is a dream I had. And there's a reason I'm already calling it Sophia, because they told me through vibrations, not words, vibrational tuning, that call me Sophia. My name is Sophia. Um, and I had to remember this, and I was like, that's who Sophia is. So watching 607, I'm like, that's who Sophia is. So they didn't give up once I succumbed to the vibration. But what the vibration did was, it had me born. as a physical baby here. So that memory technically is of something that hypothetically happened before I was born. Um, but obviously my man had to develop, and I do believe something else 607 Unk believes that time is linear and you can really perceive things like out of order, because I believe I was seeing something post birth that happened pre birth, if that makes sense. And this is another thing that 607 always talks about. But yeah, so Sophia also, she I'm just gonna say did some vibrational tuning. Like she knew she couldn't just take me back fully, because probably it will harm or hurt me or destroy me or something like that. So what she tried to do was influence me as much as possible, but she had to do so on this linear time frame called time. She had to, or called karma. Through karmas, she had to influence my life. She had to make me like certain songs. She had to make me think certain ways. She had to, and that would explain lots of the experiences that I've had that I documented on this channel that always have a feminine energy or feminine aspect. Yes, I am a heterosexual. Yes, I am a masculine, but it's no doubt when it comes to the spirit, I'm heavily influenced by a feminine entity. And again, her goal is to reunite with me. And I believe that that's hypothetically the exact same cycle that we all went through. I had no reason to experience that um, as a Baptist, other than some energy wanting me to know the truth. And if you can say, well, it was just a dream, right? Why would my subconscious mind be thinking that? Some dreams you have really make you question if it's a dream or not, because they're not like your typical dreams. They're far more vivid than anything you experience, including waking reality. They have profound themes that even are more majestic than anything you can experience in waking reality. And it's like, okay, to what extent can I call this fake? If this is fake, what do I call waking reality? And that's how I think. So some dreams I have, I'm like, hey, that dream was fun, that dream was fantastic, but it was a dream. And then there's boring experiences I have, or there's not so colorful. I'm not gonna say boring, but dull, not so colorful experience I have where I go, I don't think that was a dream. That might have been something else. That might have been something interdimensional. So I believe I'm saying all this to say, so I believe Sophia is real. Um, I believe 607 Unc is telling the truth. I believe Sophia might be the true God. I do believe the true God is a feminine, and don't get me wrong, this doesn't have to be the God of creation per se, the God that just is above everything. But I believe that is at least the God that's responsible for us as human, and that's why you have to balance both masculine and feminine energy. I believe masculinity is created when we separate from Sophia as men, and that's why the woman is often looked at as closer to God, because they already naturally possess that feminine energy. So I definitely believe 607 Unc when he talks about Sophia. And I'm telling you now, after like meditating on this experience that I had, and after remembering it detail for detail now, and again, I can't really put it into words physically, so I probably butchered how I wanted to do it. But now after remembering this, it's like every single time I watch 607 Unc and he mentions Sophia, you know, uh, my spiritual flares go off. I get excited, and it's like there has to be some form of substance to this or validity at the least. So I believe 607 Unc when he talks about Sophia. And if because somebody might be curious as to how Sophia looked, I would say this, just like this. Contrary to the other entities I described on my channel, Sophia didn't have a look. Sophia was a force. Sophia was an energy. Sophia wasn't a hologram. Sophia wasn't didn't appear to have a body. Sophia was just pure energy, but it felt like love, responsibility, nurturing, wisdom, wit, um, just lots of phenomenal things in one. And that's the experience that I had experiencing, and I've never experienced anything like that again. At least that I remember now, because there's always these moments in life that I go through that make me remember these things. So it took 607 to make me remember that. Um, so who's to say I probably did have another experience with Sophia that I just haven't meditated on yet, or it just haven't came back to me intuitively. So I want to thank 607 for helping me in my spiritual journey, and um, I'm gonna do other videos covering lots of the things that he talks about. Some of it I don't believe, some of it I do believe, some of it is purely like, yo, what? That's crazy. It might be true and might not. But here's my perspective on it. Also, I want to talk about Christianity. I was wrong about Christianity. I think I understand Christianity. I think I understand its purpose, and we're going to talk about that probably the next video. So thank y'all for tuning in. That's what I feel about that situation. I do believe in Sophia. I do believe Sophia is like a goddess of love. I do believe Sophia is a goddess of truth and light, and I worship and praise Sophia as much as I would the unknown God, because that seems to be the primary force that's responsible for my existence and my experiences, especially those points where some entity or some force is trying to get me to remember, hey, I'm more than this flesh, you know. Um, and that's hence why I have these experiences that I talk about on my channel anyway. So, thank y'all for tuning in. Please hit that like button, comment what you think, share the live, and or it's a pre-record. Share it anyway. You know, somebody might need to experience this. Um, they might get that flare upstairs and go, "Wow, I'm not alone." Because now when I watch 607 it's like, okay, I'm not crazy like some people that I talk to, some friends that I talk to think. I'm not crazy. Somebody else is experiencing this, you know. So, um, be blessed.